This is Paranormal Encounters, and I'm your host, Brenda McGee. Today I have three amazing gifted women, and I'd like for them to introduce yourselves. Let's start from here.
Hi, I'm Johnston from Center for Holistic Healing and Art.
And tell me what you do. A little bit about yourself.
I do a couple different things. I am primarily an artist, and so when I first started doing mediumship work with Amy and Andrea, it started coming out as drawings. So I do spirit drawings of people's loved ones who've passed over, and as I'm doing it, it comes out upside down. And I often get messages to go along with that as well.
Wow.
And we tap into the same energies. So I'll get part of a message and they'll get the rest of the message. So the three of us work together to give a really complete and more in-depth bit of information from people's loved ones who've passed.
Excellent.
Many.
Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea Kukulka, and I am also one of the three parts of the Center for Holistic Healing in Mansfield. And I teach Reiki classes. We teach together metaphysical classes. We call them Metaphysical Playground. And there's themes to them. But ultimately, they're a deeper path to mediumship because there's a lot of self-exploration. We get into the parts that stop us in our tracks. You know how we all set up our own little detours?
Absolutely.
Well, that's our focus is getting rid of the stuff you put out in front of yourself.
I love that.
Yeah, so we do that with healing, and we do that with our classes too.
Very good.
And I'm Amy Antonellis. I'm the last part of the trio here at the Center for Holistic Healing and Art. And, you know, Andrea always likes to joke that when we do our gallery events, the three of us work together. Kristi's typically at the front of the room, and she has her easel, and she's drawing away. And Andrea and I will do a typical gallery reading where we're tapping into people's energy, reading their loved ones, getting whatever messages people will need. And she always jokes, I'm the warm and fuzzy one. You know, I open people up and I give them all the love and I let them, you know, get them ready for the real message. And my role in that experience is typically to drive the message home. Whatever that is, whatever that one thing is that people really need to hear to get themselves to that next level or the thing that they're stuck on, or that's typically my space. That's my space in the three of us.
We call her the anchor. She
That's
drives the point home.
Amazing. I honestly have to say, of all the people that I've met, I've never heard of. I love the power of three. I always say that. Yeah. So, when did you realize you had your gifts? Did you start at a young age? Did you start at an older age, or?
Ooh, yeah, she started at a young age.
I'll start that answer. I started really young, and I was told that's not real. So I pushed it down. I pushed it down for a very, very, very long time. And then somewhere in my mid to late 20s, my dreams started coming true, word for word. Like the phone would ring and I'd know. I mean, that's what happens to a lot of people. And I always say, if the phone's ringing and you know who's on the line before you pick it up, that's the beginning. That's you're just starting to open up. But then the conversation would go on and I would know exactly what they were going to say next. And then, you know, I'd see car accidents in my dream, and then I'd wake up and find out that accident happened. And things just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I started taking my first metaphysical classes, and that was in the late 80s, early 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For myself, my story was a little bit different. I wasn't really open to spirituality at all. Had never been to a medium, had never done card readings. This stuff was just, was not part of the plan, had no idea. And then my dad ended up passing away. And when he passed, that was really, really hard. I was 25 or so when he passed away. And we were extremely close. And as I was going through the grieving process, I turned to Reiki. I was doing anything to sort of deal with like the grief and anxiety. I learned meditation. I went to Reiki. And then it started, I was having these full-blown conversations with him that I thought I was just making up. I'd be getting ready for work, having conversations, thinking I was just making it up in my head. And then the information started becoming more and more. And I'd get information about other people, other things, other situations. And when I first met Andrea, we actually met at a women's business networking event.
Oh.
So I am actually an attorney, and I have my own law practice. Wow. And so all of this was hell no. It was just not going to be part of the plan in any way, shape, or form. And so when I saw her, it had only been a little while since my dad had passed, and I saw her, and she introduced herself, and it was like I got hit with a bolt of lightning, and I immediately ran to the other side of the room, and I was petrified. I introduced myself, said hello, and then went running, screaming, and we weren't going to talk to each other ever again because I was petrified it was going to be like Long Island Medium or something crazy like that. She's going to start reading me. I'm going to start crying in front of all these people. What am I going to do? I was absolutely petrified. So I totally shut her down, shut all of that down. And as I started healing more and becoming more open myself, I was getting all this information. I was like, okay, I need somebody to bounce this off of. I need to reach out to other people. I became more open myself. And it took 2 years before I would ever speak to her again.
Oh, how funny is that?
And in the meantime, I'm a medium. I don't talk to lawyers, so I didn't think it was unusual at all. I was quite content. Lawyer on that side, healer on this side. Not a problem.
And we got together after my dad died. And I reached out to her for some reassurance and some comfort. And after I sat with her, I said, I felt so much better. And I was able to go on with what I really needed to get done. I had a big event coming in the next couple days. And I said, if you can do this, why aren't you doing it for everybody who needs it? Right. And so we got together simply so I could be her business manager. That was our original arrangement, and we decided to share a space. And as I said, I'm an artist, so I teach classes out of our space and have my art gallery there. I do primarily watercolors. And she was going to just see clients and have group readings and do healing there. And so we were just going to utilize the space parallel. And I was just taking notes for clients, and I had wanted to take Reiki too. So I talked her into being my teacher, and I took Reiki 2 from her, and my head blew off. And so after that, instead of just taking notes for what readings she was giving to people, I was also doodling in the margins, and she kept telling me, well, those are the dead people. I'm like, oh, that can't be right. That's not what I do. That's what you do.
We did 3 gallery shows before she would admit, oh, maybe that is. And maybe I did get, and then I remember you asked, did they tell you this, that, or the other thing? Because you got more information than I got.
And I started getting the
information.
Yeah, but I fought it for a long time. I fought it hard.
How hard is it, though, in a gallery setting, and you're all getting... or does your energies just kind of just zone into...
They align. We are so connected with each other. Yeah. When Amy's hungry, Andrea's hungry.
I see the heart link.
When Andrea can't sleep, I can't sleep. Yeah. When one of us is stressed, we all stressed. So,
we're empaths too.
We've learned to take better care of ourselves to be nicer to the other two.
Right? So how often you don't do things for yourself.
Right.
But you'll do it for your husband or your child.
You care for.
One of us will say, you have a headache? Take something for it because you're giving it to me. Yeah. So you got to fix that. So I feel better. If I forget to take my reflux medicine,
forget it. It kills me all day. And I'll call her. What are you doing? Take your medicine.
Why did you forget? Yeah. So when we're in a gallery setting, the same thing happens. We're so connected with each other. I can be up front drawing, and they're talking to someone on the other side of the room, and I get some more information that goes with that, and I'll throw it over the back of my shoulder. So also blah 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 that goes with this.
I love that.
So it's nice.
fun.
It's
Love
nice
that.
because it's mutually supportive. You know, none of us feel like we're out there just on our own trying to fulfill people's needs. You know, you want to help people, and so there's pressure there. You want to make them feel better, and sometimes that can feel like you're reaching, right?
Right.
Or struggling a little bit. But with three of us, it doesn't feel like that. It feels easy.
It's probably
and
so much calmer,
it's
and
so
you're not
much calmer.
stressed. And
yeah.
now,
the
if
person
someone wanted to
receiving-
book a gallery, how would they go about that? Through a website or through your? If you can give me that information, so they'll know that.
Well, our website is easy. It's
holistichealingandart.com. That easy. It's so easy. She forgot.
Can't say it.
Holistic Healing and Art.
Holistichealingandart.com.
And you do galleries at
Your
Your place?
At our
run-
space, and also at
We do them at Uplifting Connections in Bridgewater.
yep.
And we just did one at the Unlikely Story, the bookstore in Plainville, which is really nice. That's a big space, and we love doing it there because it's wide, it's roomy, and we can really move around because we take up a lot of room, and we're always in motion, right?
Yeah.
So
We need space.
when we need space, give us
It's
some
good
room.
not to feel cramped.
Yeah.
It
So-
really is, and it helps
yeah.
that we're not on top of someone. If I'm with my microphone, right, and I'm talking to someone, and there are two of us that are talking to them, we don't want to be right on top of someone. We don't want to intimidate them.
Right.
We want to be able to give them space to finish up with me, and then be able to look over at Amy
Right.
and get their second piece. And
Yeah.
a third piece comes from over Kristi's shoulder, and maybe they get really lucky and they go home with one of Kristi's drawings too.
I usually do 4 or 5 in the
Wow.
2-hour evening. I can usually get 4 or 5 done. The other thing that's really nice about the size groups that we do is it offers people the opportunity to have that private aside. You know, lots of times our
right.
messages piggyback each other, and the message really is meant for the whole group.
Right.
You know, maybe multiple people are needing to hear the same kind of message that evening, and even if they don't hear from their particular loved one, the message to, you know, someone else has resonated with them, and they go home feeling like they've had a renewed sense of connection and an understanding of what comes after this. But sometimes there's something really personal and really private that somebody needs to hear, and that way the group is big enough, and with 3 of us,
We can shut the mic off.
Andrea can shut the mic off
Yeah, no.
and step aside, and we can continue on sharing, you know,
Wow.
the rest of the message, and they can have their private moment, or Amy and whoever, or me with the drawing. You know, sometimes it's as I deliver the drawing, there's that extra little something that they need to hear, just them. You know, just that personal one-on-one that's not for the whole group. So it's nice. With the 3 of us, it doesn't stop the action, so to speak. It doesn't stop the moment to be able to do both.
Yep. The other thing that we've recognized with all 3 of us is many times the 3 of us are saying the exact same message, but we're saying it in slightly different ways.
Which might have just happened, actually.
That's exactly what just happened, right? So the exact same message, but you need to hear it different ways. Sometimes it's just the process of repetition. Some person needs to hear it multiple times before it'll sink in, and other times each one of us is resonating with somebody different in the group. So the way we address a certain point, a certain issue, something Spirit wants to get across, we each bring our own individual unique perspectives to that, and the way we can interpret and share allows people to pick exactly what it is that they need.
I love that.
It's like we were saying earlier, there's someone for everyone.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody's energy is different. Chances are with 3 of us, someone's going to resonate with one of us.
I'd love to
Right.
see you guys on one of our paranormal investigations on what would happen. That would be funny.
We might make it laughter.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, I
That's
can only
okay
imagine.
because they like that.
Yeah,
I'm never
it really
serious.
raises- it
I'm
really
never
raises the
serious.
energy,
Only
yeah.
when I'm first meeting someone who we're, you know, professional wise, and then after that, it's no. You know, after that.
Gotta be
So have you
real.
ever encountered like negative spirits or anything like that, or?
Sure. Sometimes.
Well, we had one in our space for a while when we first
oh,
we
go ahead,
first
tell
got
that
in
story.
there. Well, there was this one corner. So we have a long, narrow space in Mansfield, and front door. It's a straight shot back to the bathroom. And we've got all kinds of furniture in it along the sides, but we made it so that we could adapt the space for all different uses. So I teach classes. We have tables that go up and down. We have a couple
Reiki
massage,
tables.
Reiki tables, massage tables for energy work. And we had set up bifold doors to kind of separate one of the Reiki tables and give a little privacy. And there was still straight space next to it to get to the bathroom. Every time she walked to the bathroom, she tripped. Every single time at the very same place, right at the corner of this bifold, she'd trip over it. And I turn around and I go, what just happened? She'd go, I don't know, nothing.
I didn't pay any attention.
Every single time. And then there were three of us that time, but it was before we had met Amy.
that
And
was
so
when Lee
it
was
was
with us.
with Lee.
Yeah.
And Lee walked in and tripped over the same spot. And I went, what is right there? Because I've been in that space since 2003.
Oh.
And so this was in the beginning of 2013. So 10 years later, I never tripped over that spot. So I didn't know what was going on. And then we discovered that there was a really cold spot of negative energy right there. And we got
there
rid
was
of
a
it.
negative vortex.
I was going to say that, and then I thought,
Yeah.
do I remember that wrong? Yeah,
No, there
it was a
was.
negative vortex. Yeah,
And
it
it
was
took the three of us a bit of time to
Yeah, and we got
cast
rid of
it out.
We said, no, thank you. You're not welcome here.
And now when you come into our space, we have a huge positive vortex right in the center.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's very, very
I'm
powerful.
gonna have to come visit.
And everybody
Oh,
walks
yeah.
in, and the
I
minute
would
they
love
open
that.
the door, they
They're
go,
like, whoa.
oh.
Yeah.
It feels, well, even people, so even the parents of my kids and the kids who come, because I teach classes for ages 7 and up. And so, they're not the spidey people. But they'll come in and they say, oh, do you mind if we just sit for a while? It feels so good in here. They don't even know what's going on, and they love it.
Now, do you see spirit in your mind's eye, or do you see, or is it vary different times?
Mostly, I feel it. I feel the spirit. I feel the energy. I feel sometimes as I begin to talk to a client. So I have a round table at the back of the room where I do my one-on-one with people. And when I describe I say what I'm seeing, I can see it in my mind's eye, but I can feel them.
Right.
And when I begin to use their key phrases or their mannerisms, that's me just letting them take over and really feeling them and allowing them in. So
I
It-
mostly
it's a
feel
little
the
combination.
emotion.
right.
Yeah.
I mostly feel the emotion. Even when I don't think that's what's happening, it turns out that's what's
But even
happening.
drawing, like, are you just going with whatever your hand does?
I
and-
am. I'm trying to
Like
just
channeling
let it.
type
She
thing?
can't see. She's not
Yep.
seeing anything.
I don't see anything. Like you don't see me like looking
know,
to
it's
try to
funny.
compare.
Right.
I'm not seeing it. I'm just letting it flow through me. So it's just the energy. And as I was talking to one of your staff members here, I was saying the interesting part is that they typically present themselves by the time the drawing is finished. It's typically a person in what they would consider the best years of their life. Like they
Spirits
show
little vein.
themselves
Yeah.
a little bit. So they show themselves in like they're sometimes high school, sometimes 30s or early 40s. I rarely draw an older person. Even if they died in their 80s, even if they had a billion wrinkles and bags and sags and whatever, they rarely come through that way.
So
They
it's
usually
usually
come
whoever
through.
has the strongest energy you'll pick up.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'd like
Yeah.
to say it's the loudest
It's the
loudest spirit
Yeah.
in the room.
I tell people ahead of time if they're saying, oh, how do I make sure I get to talk to so-and-so? I say, tell them to be loud. Tell them to be
Yeah,
loud
yell.
and insistent because those are the ones who get through. If they're shy if they're quiet, if they're timid.
Now, do you
it's hard to hear in
stay open all the time, or do you just, nope, I'm going to do it at this time and then I'm going to open it? I tell a lot of people, you go crazy.
If we were to stay open all the time, we wouldn't be able to function.
No,
Right?
and that's what I tell them.
Function.
And some people say they can't shut it down, and I said, you have control.
You need an off
figure that
switch.
out.
You absolutely need to watch an off switch. And one of the most important lessons that we have learned is, and this actually came from an entity that we channel, Great Spirit, that has introduced themselves to us as all that is. And we get together on Monday nights and we channel them, or we do our personal work. But one of the greatest lessons that we've learned is that you can only get as high spiritually as you can ground. Right. And so it's that concept of as above, so below. If you want to get high, and you want to be connected to spirit, and you want to be able to understand that frequency and vibration, you have to be grounded. And so many people are focused on the high. They're not tethered. They have nothing to come back to. And that doesn't allow them to live in this world. You know, we are spiritual beings having a human existence. And it's learning to honor that and respect that. Take care of yourself in the process. And it tends to be the number one thing that's most forgotten.
And how can they get in touch with you again?
Our website is holistichealingandart.com.
And holistic with an H, so it's not, it's not
Right.
It's not WH. It's holistic,
Holistic.
HOL. Yeah, holistic healing.
Just because I want people to be able to, So what would you like to tell everybody, because we are running out of time? What would you like to...
I believe that everyone is intuitive. Everyone has their own geyser of sorts. Everyone can get a yes or a no. And it's just a matter of trusting.
And believing in someone or something and higher. I always tell people, remove your ego, which is your human side, and ask your higher self to come through.
I like that a
Then
lot.
you shouldn't be questioning, and whatever you hear, that's what you need to go with.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you all so very much for being here. I hope you come back.
We have
We'd love
about 2 seconds to finish that up.
Yeah, no, you still have.
I
you still
know.
have two,
I don't
You
know.
still have a few
I
more
don't know who
minutes.
this
Okay,
is.
good.
We have.
Yeah.
All right.
2
2
minutes.
minutes.
I got some.
So you keep finishing that. Our goal is to really help people feel supported and help them tap into their own intuition and expand. Bring them to the next level, whatever that looks like for them, which is why it takes a little bit of everything to make that possible. Between the classes that we have, between the mediumship, as Andrea said, everybody
energy
has
healing.
the energy healing. There are many ways that one can choose to move forward in life.
Our ideal client is someone who is actively working on themselves, who is actively removing their roadblocks. That's what we would like to help people with. If you're really doing the work,
Right.
come on
It's
in.
We'd love
So
to help.
you do galleries at your place in Mansfield, Mass.
Yep.
And then you said another place? Was it
Uplifting Connections in Bridgewater.
in Bridgewater?
And then an unlikely story in Plainville. And then we do private
And
events.
then you do private events.
Correct.
I wanted
Yep.
to ask you
Correct.
that.
Absolutely.
So they can get in touch with you through your website or anything like that. How are you making out?
All right. Well,
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody in that booth.
I'm
It
pretty
is.
sure it belongs to that person that I was talking to.
I
Yeah,
really
it
hope
is.
so.
Yeah.
Of all people here, I
I
really
know, I'd
hope
really love for him to
so.
come
I,
out. We all know who it belongs to.
Well,
Yeah.
I thank you all very much for being here. And if you have any questions or if you want to get in touch with them, you have their website, or you can email me at paranormalencounterstv9@gmail.com. And thanks for watching.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for having us.
Big hugs.